called the opportunity map. And I think that if you actually understand this company, you actually understand that it's kind of a container for what you want to create. So most people come to our company, and this is, again, not a KW plug, but this is to kind of really address, what are you guys really up to? Because at the end of the day, some of you don't want to sell real estate as much, or you want to slow down, you want to look at some other things, and why is this company really growing at that rate? Most people come to us because they realize we can help them in their business to be a better agent. And with regards to that, we have 3 curriculums. You're either a launch agent, you do Ignite, you have productivity coaching, you have growth agent, those are all the 36-12-3 courses and all the other stuff. And then you have an achievement agent, which are all the team courses, career visioning, which was Recruit Select before, 30-60-90. So we have a whole bunch of curriculum. So most people come to us because they want to be a good agent, right? Be a better agent, right? And I think that's the right place to start. But what we realize is that we can help them build a team, because we're really the models that helps them build a team, how to hire an assistant, how to do these things. And as a result of that, we have a group of people that are called the Agent Leadership Council. We have an ALC here. So who's on the ALC in this office? Okay, great. So we have an Agent Leadership Council that are made of the top 20% of the people that help determine the policies and the guidelines and the committees around how we run an office. As a result of that, we share half of our profits back in a profit share program. So it's very organic that way. So a lot of people come here because they like the culture, they like the mega agent aspect, they like the helping them with their business. But what people don't understand is that if you build a team and you want to move out of your geographic area and have representatives outside in other Keller Williams offices or even your own, you have an expansion model. So for example, in Mississauga, I actually have now 2 expansion agents that are from other teams from other Keller Williams offices, because those people have enough leads in their training that they now see that a segment of their people are moving in. So if you find that, hey, my business is really big in Fredericton, you could actually have an expansion team in Moncton and one in St. John, and knowing that there's locations. So is that something that maybe you're up to? You could be a productivity coach. So this is an agent that actually works with any of the new agents that are coming in. And how they're compensated is they're compensated basically off the increased production. So Teresa Baird, the #1 agent in Mississauga for Keller Williams, is my productivity coach. So she does 60 deals, 70 deals a year, makes close to $1 million, but she also coaches 32 agents that you could travel around kind of like me. Now, honestly, I do a lot of favors, but essentially if you wanted to make that as part of your business, the per diem is about $1,200 to $1,500 a day. They pay for your expenses, whatever, and you go around and you can teach any of the Keller Williams courses. That's what you see a lot of the faculty being able to do. So you have to do train the trainer, train the presenter, train the trainer, and then get invited to train the trainer advance. Now here's the deal. Even if you don't end up becoming market faculty, do you think if you take those courses you're going to be better at doing your listing or buyer's presentations? Do you think you're going to be better at scripts and conversion? The best way to learn something is you stand here and you teach it. You think that I'm teaching you? I'm learning coaches right now. We need Canadian MAPS coaches. Now, to be a MAPS coach, you have to have had a history of production and certain things. But I actually have a MAPS coach in my office, her name is Kelly Maniatias. Kelly was my market center administrator. She was the one doing deals. And she realized that they actually need MCA MAPS coaches. So Kelly moved from making $60,000, $65,000 with me as a market center administrator. She now makes over $200,000 just coaching MCAs across North America on the phone because she has 2 little kids. She barely leaves her townhouse in Mississauga. She has a headset and she does half-hour calls and she has about 50 clients. Yes. But I started here and I said, well, this company has a vision big enough for me to plug and play my life, and I don't have to self-create it, because doing it on your own is tough. When they've already got systems and models, you can customize it to your own life.
Isn't it true, Sonny, that most of Gary's top presidents and vice presidents of his corporation started at an agent level?
Almost all of them start off as an agent and then maybe a team leader. Actually, to be honest with you, Austin, very few of the operating principals have the high leadership jobs. Not to say there's anything against operating principals, But most of the time, the operating principals are usually big agents, right? But the team leaders and the agent leadership council members and the coaches, they're the ones that actually were able to bring people. And they find that you almost find almost every top person. Mary Tennant was a team leader. Diana Kokoska was a team leader. Mark Willis was a team leader. John Davis was a team leader. They weren't operating principals. They became operating principals after, but they were team leaders first. So it's interesting enough in your business, and good operating principals are kind of like team leaders, but it's interesting, good team leaders are also like good agents that know how to bring listings. To get listings is almost the same thing to recruit people. So kind of what we teach and how we run our business and systems in this brokerage is actually a mirror and a model for actually how you should be running your agent business. The skills are transferable. It's really mind-blowing because we didn't grow up in that model. Our competitors are not built this way, right? And it's very different from them, and we can't compare. And so I want you guys to be very conscious is that you coming to Keller is a different model. So to compare us against what everybody else is doing, like I said yesterday, don't do that. Not that you can't bring value. Bring those discussions to the ALC as to how we can make this company better. But understand, like, you know, bringing Keller Williams is like driving Tesla when everybody else is still on gasoline. Like, so don't compare us to gasoline. It's, you know, Remax is all about hype. You know that. Royal's different. I'm not saying they're not bad. I'm not saying they're great. They're not bad companies. They're good companies. We're just different. And we have to understand that part of that opportunity and part of that culture is why you came here and doing that. Okay. Any questions on this so far? But there's lots of opportunity in Canada. So if you guys want to bring your game, I'm telling you, they're looking for talent, you know, and the best way is to bring your game here first and then help develop it to the next level. So the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this. Sorry, this is my daughter. I had to, sweetheart, I'm just teaching a class now. I love you, and I'll call you later, okay? Okay, bye. Sorry. My daughter has a special, my daughter has a special thing. I have to take her call. Sorry about that. So anyway, Emma, so I want to just go through this. This is the 24 topics. I'm going to stop at the team side, and I'm going to stop at one thing, and I'm going to answer John's question yesterday, John, because I put the perfect day visualization up at the end of this. But this is actually a course of 24 topics. This is a full day course. We're going to like go through all of this stuff in the next 30 minutes. And I'm sorry if we're just going to be looking at this, but I just want to do a summary of the MREA book. So if you haven't read the MREA book, here's going to be a summary. So MREA is all about thinking big, aiming high, acting bold, and living large. Okay? We don't feel by you playing small serves anybody. And not only that, by you playing small, even if you don't fully live large, if you have goals that are outside of your concept and you fall slightly short of them, you'll probably still have a great life. But to have a small life and small goals, and you fall short of that, will make it even smaller. Do you get that? So we always have to be reaching for something, right? To be able to have a greater life. So a lot of us, what we do is because we're so smart, a lot of us say, well, let me customize it to my life. The problem is that as much as you're very creative, a lot of us don't like to follow systems and models. We like to kind of do our own thing and create our own systems and models. But what we realize is that becomes exhausting. So just like a listing presentation, a lot of times people say, well, let me see your listing presentation. Well, I haven't come up with my listing presentation. I said, well, why don't you just use the 20-minute bold listing presentation, Diana Kokoska? Well, that's a little bit too aggressive for me. I said, well, why don't you actually just learn it? Use your tone with that. But why don't you just learn it and study it? Once you learn it and study it, then customize it and use the language or the innuendos that you will. Why don't you actually learn the process? And so everybody that actually learns and follows a model, those models are usually built on something. There's a reason why Diana says, to, you know, Jeremy. So Jeremy, is there anything holding you back right now from us being able to work together?
No.
There's a reason. Her language is that way. Because it shows that that language prompts either a yes or a no, not a maybe. It also is a language that prompts whether she needs to drill down. Well, you know, so if the price is the only, is there anything else that's holding you back? Or it prompts him to say, well, it's the price. Well, is the price the only thing that's holding you back from us doing business together? Now that may sound aggressive, but what you're understanding is you can say it in a non-aggressive way. You can say it with your own tonality, but you're getting to the point that the only thing that this guy cares about now is price, because you've taken care of every other objection. So when you learn an actual model, and then you can build creativity, your creativity on top of that model, then you're going to create your own thing. Understand, almost everything that comes out of any successful person's mouth, I hate to say this, it's usually was built on some sort of model, right? I really believe that it's R&D. Everybody's ripping off and basically, you know, that's right. R&D, you know, rip off and, you know, develop for yourself, right? So I really believe that most of the stuff that you hear is just people just saying the same thing over and over, whether it came from visual, you know, visionary leaders like, you know, Gandhi or, you know, Mother Teresa, or whether it was from spiritual leaders or business leaders or whatever. Even Gary Keller stuff. Even Gary Keller would say, I didn't learn all I'm learning from me. I took stuff I learned from other people and I just happened to put it together. So same thing with you. So understand that start with a model, follow with a model, okay? First of all, you're going to find out that you're going to have a natural ability. So many of you have a natural ability to fly at the seat of your pants. Okay? We are very good at flying by the seat of our pants, most of us in this room. In fact, we pull stuff off like amazingly, like, you know, unbelievable. In fact, it's become our notion like, oh my God, I can just fly by the seat of my pants and pull it off. But what happens is that to sustain that over a longer period of time, it becomes exhausting and it's unsustainable. And then what you're going to find is you're going to hit the same sort of ceiling. So normally for people in real estate, they hit the same sort of income ceiling all the time, right? They may have that sort of 1 year, but maybe it's a fluke year, but they're always sort of there. They can't build it. So what that really means is that you've got to get out of your natural ability and you've got to get more purposeful and add in a system or a model. So as per our meeting yesterday, one of the biggest systems and models would be you guys to actually have an organized database. It's not maybe natural to you, it's maybe a little bit of an effort, but if you actually have an organized database and you automate the touches and you put that on a system, do you not think that that would maybe get you to the next level? Right? Mm-hmm. So all I'm saying is that for you to go from enthusiastic and entrepreneurial to purposeful, which is what EDP is you've got to have some sort of system and model. Not big ones, but maybe one or two that you've got to implement. Once you do that, and you're able to capture any of the leads, now that you've got leads down, because at the beginning it's kind of like, I just need leads. So you're going to work with whoever you're going to work with. But once you're able to now get leads down, you're going to give obviously priority to listings. Because as we learned yesterday, and we talked about that, listings provide you more listings. The best advertisement that you can ever have is your sign on the lawn of somebody. You are like the actor in your own movie for about 7 to 10 days. They forget about whoever owned the area. If they're seeing Austin's sign on the lawn and they're passing by that every day, they know Austin. So that's why you guys got to circle prospect those listings. Okay, you got to get to those 120 to 150 doors around there. Okay, and they know who you are. So when you call them and you say, hey, by the way, it's Austin, I have the Miller's home, want to invite you to the open house, they want more, they expect more, and rightly so. So for example, now if you get a listing, are they going to expect you to help them, you know, give them some advice on how the property shows or the condition of the property? Are they going to expect that? Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, and so you'll see that's going to happen more and more if it hasn't happened. So you have to probably look at maybe taking some courses a little bit on staging or bringing some other people in that can help around that. Okay? Are they going to expect good photographs of the property? Yes. Are they going to expect a virtual tour of the property? Are they going to expect a lockbox on it? Are they going to sign on it? Are they going to expect you to do an open house on it?
right? So you gotta understand that the consumer's expectations now is that if you're gonna go in and you're gonna charge them, they're gonna expect you to help them prepare this home for sale, advise them, get the lockbox on, have nice pretty photos, have this, have all that kind of stuff. Does that take work?
Yes.
Every listing on average takes about 20 hours of administration work. So what you're finding is that 20 hours of administration work, and again, this is nothing to be judgmental about administration work, but most of that administration work is somewhere between $12 to $20 an hour, right? If you spend 3 hours lead genning and getting one appointment, and that appointment you spend 10 hours, and that, as we said yesterday, turns into a sale, what was your dollar per hour? 263. So why, think like business people now, why would you stop and do 20 hours of admin work when you can actually go and do 3 hours and make $263 an hour? Wouldn't you just pay somebody to do that for you? That's a business. You guys have to understand this. Not only that, here's what you gotta understand. If you are able to leverage some of the stuff off to other people, maybe start small, maybe do get a few things leveraged off, you'll create more time and you'll rest more. Because a lot of the times why you're not doing what you're doing is because you're tired. Because you're too busy working all that other stuff and you're not giving yourself time to rest. So you'll actually be a better agent if you do leverage stuff off. How many of you have paid more than $5,000 in taxes this past year? How many of you paid more than $10,000 in taxes? How many of you paid more than $20,000 in taxes? Okay, so here's what I'm going to say to you. Do you not think you can buy part-time virtual help for probably $300 or $400 a month to help you do your social media, to help you load those photos in, to help you do? Don't you think you can buy that? Don't you need the tax write-off? Right? Why did you pay that money to the government when you can actually do that? Right? When you can actually write that off. Like, think like a business person. We want you to think like a business person, right? In being able to do that. So think about that, right? And you're getting help. So leads, listings, and leverage. So to succeed in real estate, you must have client leads. It's that simple. And I'll tell you the whole thing. If we don't master leads, it's going to affect the quality of your life. Because when you can master leads and you have enough leads, what do you have the ability to do?
Take the business you want.
Exactly. Say no to those crappy clients that you're working with right now that you should fire their butts. But the reason that you don't fire them is because you have no other leads. So you're working with what you got. And sometimes what you got's pretty crappy. I don't want to be judgmental about it. But if you had enough leads and enough business, then you wouldn't be so attached to these people. Let them go on their way. Right? If you're going to be part of the 80, you got to think like part of the 20 that's going to do 80%. If you're thinking like the 80, you're going to be fighting over the 20% that's left. And I'm not saying that they're not good-meaning people, but here's what's going to happen. Leads will actually give you that confidence. So those same people won't try to pull stunts with you because you're showing a different level of confidence. You wouldn't believe how many times I've had to walk away from business at the table, and you know what? Half the time they stop me at the door. Because if you have the confidence to do it, half the time they're going to smarten up. And half the time I don't care because they weren't meant for me anyway, right? And some of you know, you've been dealing with clients right now. Pain in the ass clients, they're sucking the life out of you, and you're not going to get any more repeat and referral business. In fact, if you mess up, they'll probably tell 20 people how bad you are. So cut them loose. Do yourself a favor. Just go get better quality leads, right? And so the reason you need to be calling people is because you owe it to yourself to have a better quality of leads, right? And when you do, then you're starting to play the game. It's that simple. That's what you signed up for. You're not getting paid a salary to do that. So listings are high leverage, maximum opportunities, work smarter people, systems. And then this is really basically start to think like a millionaire real estate agent, start to earn, start to net, and start to receive. These are the models with regards of how we need to do it. So these are the 6 myth understandings. So Austin, what's the first myth? Talk about the myth and the truth.
Having a goal and not fully realizing it is a negative thing. The truth, having a goal and not trying to achieve it is a negative thing.
That's great. Carrie? That was the first one. Okay, sorry, I thought they were gonna do the other ones. I haven't done this one. Okay, this appears on the page. So, try, the real you. Most people never know who they really are, so we did the whole try. They can really only show up when they try, right? So, think powered by a big why, and think big goals and big models. Now, what do we say by a big why? That's a big statement, right? Why do we do what we do? Watch that 15-minute or 10-minute TED Talk by Simon Sinek. If you guys watch that one again. He'll talk about your why. He says most people know what and know how. They may know your what and they may know your how, but they don't know your why. Now let me ask you a question. Is what and how, what you charge, how you're going to do it in this business, somewhat generic with most agents? Sure. Put the listing up, do this, do that, do that, do that, all that stuff. Could somebody else pretty well copy your marketing plan, what your value proposition is? Yeah. So the what and the how in our business, there's common things. Sure, we're going to put on the MLS, but we're going to say, we're going to do this. So how does that differentiate you? So what people have to understand is that if people don't know your why, if they don't know your why, they don't have a connection, okay? They don't have a connection that differentiates you. So now, in the absence of not knowing your why, all they focus is on the what and the how. What are you going to charge me? Right? So let's say, for example, I say, Terry, the reason that I do what I do is because I honestly want to make a difference in this planet. And I find that if I can help people in their homes find the right home, they'll have a great family life, our communities will be stronger, and as a result of that. So I look at my role as a realtor in helping facilitate and build finding people's homes and communities as an integral part of community harmony. Now when I say that to you, what do you think of me? So do you just kind of hear what I just said? No. Do I say it again? Yeah. Okay. So Terry, so I'm sitting down in the listing presentation, and before I get into anything, I just want to tell you something about me. The reason I'm a realtor is because I want to change the world. And I know that may sound airy-fairy, but I really believe that helping facilitate people find a home, helping create memories, helping create family within those homes is an intricate part of community harmony. And so why I'm a realtor and what really drives me is to really help make a difference in your life and create a stronger community. So I just want to let you know that's why I do what I do. Now, what are you thinking of me at that time when I say that to you? Are you?
You're genuine, you care.
Is this the type of person that you want to work with, not want to work with?
Absolutely, yeah.
So all I'm saying to you is that we go right into, oh, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to charge you this. I'm going to put it on here. You didn't even know anything about what you're about. And you have to understand that that's maybe my words, and I'll say it a little bit differently, but you guys have to come up with some sort of, and make a story about it. Now, how many had a previous, how many did something before real estate? Okay, so I know you, what did you do before real estate?
I was a school teacher principal.
Yeah, so I don't want to use this as a sales thing, but here's really what, I'm going to give you an example. Why aren't you saying to people, you know what? I was a school teacher principal for many, many years, and one of the things I had to manage was people dynamics and kids and in and out. Mine in real estate is very similar. I've got these big kids, they're like agents. I've got all of these dynamics, the home process, and you. And part of why I do what I do, just like how I was a school teacher or principal, is I take a lot of those skills and that's what I bring to real estate. Bernadette, is that a story?
Yeah.
See, it gives people a context of your why. What's your story? What's your 1 minute? What's your 2 minute about you? They want to know you. Right? They want to know you. Good, but you all go in there and say, I'm going to charge you this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Yeah, you'll get to that. But the foundation of it is powered by a big why. Right? And there's a whole exercise. Austin, yeah?
Gary, you have to move your vehicle, the transport, Gary Vinson. You gotta move your vehicle, the transport can't get around. And there's
Silver truck?
There's a silver truck, you need to move it as well. Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. I thought you were talking to Gary Keller.
Yeah, there's Gary Keller responsible.
He's always there.
So,
We were just trying to get our exercise before we parked at the
no
end.
problem. So, think powered goals, think powered by big why, then you think big goals and big models. So that will usually happen in the 411 document, the planning document, 1 page. So these are the foundational things. Then, all the supportive things. What's possible with this person? Let's think, what do I need to do? Think without fear. You know, I can't be worried about that. Think progress, think competitively, think standards, think service. So this is the follow-up of that. This is where all your plan comes in, right? This is a way of thinking. So the personal growth is I want to be the best that I can. And if you don't want it, and if you don't understand this, is that start asking people, well, why do they want to do what they want to do? So here's a way to do that. So Carrie, and I'm going to use you as an example. Sorry, as an example. So you know, why do you want to do real estate?
I love people. It's always different every day.
And what about it? What about people, or why about people is that important to you?
Because you learn from everybody you meet, and it makes you a stronger, better person.
And why is that important to you?
Because I want to be my best me.
And why is that important to you?
Because that makes me happy. Stop asking me questions.
So here's what I'm going to say to you. When you go through this process, keep asking yourself, why is it that you want to do this? Why is it that you want to do this? You know, the reason I put up my 2 kids yesterday, because that's part of my big why. Why is it that I want to do all of this stuff? Why are we really doing all this stuff? Are we doing it really, like, what does money power for us? What does all these things power for us? We can't take it when we go, guys. You can't take any of your houses, any of your money, any of your cars with you when you go. You're going to be sitting on your deathbed, you're going to look back and you're going to say, did I make a difference in the world? And is the world a better place as a result of me? And did I really live? Because you can't take anything else. So you have to understand, though, that however, though, money is a vehicle to help power survival into significance. Not that you have to be, and everybody's got to set their own limits. Like if you need a lot of money to basically be happy, then you got to rethink your life. Because you don't need a ton of money to be happy. But so you got to set your life up in a way where you don't need a ton of money. Honestly, I can live everything in my life. I can live everything in my life, my house, my cars, my business, survival. I can do everything in my life on basically about $6,000 or $7,000 a month. So if I don't make anything more than that, I'm good. So now everything beyond that, that's play, that's about giving back, that's about trips, that's about that, that's about that. So I haven't set up my life in a way where I don't need a lot to be happy, to be honest with you. The interesting thing is if you think this way and set your life up in this way, you'll actually end up making way more money and having way more fun because you now have a balanced mind. So also understand that your why is also about you and about what's driving you, and people are going to see that. People are going to be attracted to that in those ways. So, have you thought about your big why? You need to think about that. What's your value proposition? The very best real estate agents are able to translate the reasons people should hire them and provide a specific set of circumstances. So now that I'm able to tell people my why, what I do is I tell them my value proposition. And my value proposition is something that I've combined uniquely. So, you know, Terry, one of the things that I do, 50% of the buyers usually know people within 150 doors of your home. And so I don't want to just leave it to putting it on MLS or putting an ad in the paper, putting it on social media or doing the open house, which I'm going to do all of those. I actually get out there and I'm going to knock your neighborhood and find that person because I overturned every leaf in trying to find a buyer for your home. So I picked that one thing that becomes my differentiator. Do you want to hire me, Terry?
Absolutely.
See? See? You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You got the generics, but you picked the one few things that you do better. Now, look at it. There is one thing that you guys do really well. whether it be open houses, whether it be working with buyers, whether it be helping put whatever, helping be staging. You know, one of the things that differentiates me, I actually going to help you stage your home, or I'm going to help you do whatever it is. You look at your own gifts and talents. Because if it's a gift or talent for you, then create a value around that. If it's the fact that, oh, you know what, I've got 2,000 Facebook followers, so I'm going to make sure that your home is on every social media site. Because do you know, and statistically this is true, do you know that if you have over 1,200 followers on social media, mostly Facebook, do you know that you post a listing, you will probably get just as more real inquiries off of that property than if you put it on MLS. So that's a real stat, by the way. So we're seeing now that the traffic that's driven to the MLS and the traffic that learns about a property that's posted through real estate business pages, it's gone up a lot. Not only that, have you seen how the quality of the videos that are coming out? So check out some of the videos, even from my office. We've got great videos, and it's kind of like almost like they're walking in front of the house. Hey, check out the TAM team, THAM. The TAM team, Simon, Melanie, Lynn, they're all from my office. Look at their videos. That's standard now in Toronto. If you don't have a video like that, it's like the client's looking at you. This is standard in our package, they say. And not only that, literally when you look at that video, what do you think they do when they're trying to get new clients?
Show them the video.
They show them the video, right? Hi, it's Simon Tam, just want to and takes them to the home. And they just say, well, this is standard what we do. First of all, it looks great, and it's kind of, so you have to understand that this is part of your presentation to be able to do that. And people who use video and look well on video are going to have a competitive advantage. So if you're not using some of the tools down the road, and even social media, you may understand that you may not be as competitive. We know as a result of that, 20% of our activities produce 80% of our results. So in real estate, what's that? What's 20% of the activities that we need to be focused on? Lead gen, and to get us
Follow up.
to get us appointments. Lead gen and follow up to get us appointments. That's it. So we got to make sure, because that will create now the appointments, which will create us the business. That business will now create us the sales, which will create us the track record, which will create us all the other things, which will create us the money that we can spend and buy and stuff like that. But getting all caught up on the 80%, not to say that's not important, but it's not part of your 20%, but filling around with your websites and your business cards and all that other stuff, when you're not doing your lead gen, that's not going to produce anything for you. Understand that you have got to make a decision to be part of the 20% that's going to do part of the 80% of the business. Otherwise, you're going to be part of the 80% that's fighting over this. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to be that in life. Okay? So those are leads, listings, and leverage. Okay? So I'm going to ask you a question right now. What's one thing, business or personal, one thing that you could leverage out tomorrow? You could either pay somebody else to do, you could exchange services with them, do something for them, they do something for you. It doesn't have to, it needs to be business, it could be personal. I will let you know. People ask me, well, how do you manage? How did you manage to build an office of 350 people, managing all these people, all that stuff, whatever, so forth, this, do, and, oh, you must have had an assistant, you must have had a great staff, you must have that, you must have that. I'm like, no, the greatest leverage for my life is having a nanny. Geraldine, my nanny, just dropped my kids off. That's Sahara calling me on the phone. She's with them, right, last night. She gets up, helps them get ready. Not that they're like 12 and 13, but to me, what I've paid my nanny has made me millions. That's my leverage, because to me, I want my kids to eat a certain thing, I want the house to be clean, I want the laundry done. I'm pretty particular about certain things about my home. I was brought up in that old British mindset. You know, that's how it was, right? So that's important to me. That's been the greater return on my investment than my own assistant is. Not to say that I don't love my assistant, I love Angela, she's like amazing. You want anything about me? Don't call me, call Angela, you'll never get a hold of me. Call Angela Bruzzi. She's Italian, you know, comes from Calabrese, right? So she's like, gets things done for me, loves it, I love her, right? You need people, she's totally different than me. You need people like that in your life, right? So let me ask you, what's one thing that you could leverage out? One thing in your business or personal life, or either pay for it, or exchange services for it, or just enroll somebody to do it because they want to do it. What's one thing?
I already.
What?
Yeah, housekeeper,
Housekeeper, cleaning,
cleaning.
okay? I can tell you, there's nobody that can clean a bathroom the way I can clean a bathroom. And I know it sounds crazy. I can bring out the toothbrush and like everything and the Clorox bleach and it takes me like 5 hours to clean a bathroom, just like how it takes me to clean a car. Like everything, like this grout and this, because if I'm gonna do it, I do it or don't do it. You do it right or you don't do it at all. But I just realized that that's a total waste of my time. Geraldine actually can clean way better now than I can clean. Geraldine knows how to iron my shirts. Geraldine knows how to do, like I've told her these are the standards that I have. Honestly, it's not like you shouldn't be doing it. Not like I don't clean up on the slob. All I'm saying to you is that that's really relevant. Because some of you, what happens is your organizing mind, you can't work when it's messy around you. So for you, it almost like it sucks energy. So for your environment to be clean or to be organized, that's a driver for you. So if you spend 3 hours on cleaning that place, and then you don't have the energy to do your lead gen, you might as well pay somebody to do that and go and do your lead gen, because that's going to pay you $263 an hour, as we figured out yesterday. That's more than enough to pay for that cleaner. Do you get what I'm saying? So what's one thing? Think about one thing. If any of you know it, share it. If not, that's part of your homework. I want you to think about one thing you can leverage in your business or personal life.
I think for me, I've just been in business for 2 years as a real estate agent, and it's definitely an assistant, because my weakness is organization and paperwork. I'm a talker and I like people and I build great relationships.
No, really, Terry.
Yeah.
I just met you yesterday. No, really.
But that's what I thrive off, right? That's what I really enjoy doing. But when it comes to doing an amendment, I'm like, Frank, like, I don't want to be doing this amendment. I want to be talking to you and out there, doing whatever. So I'm at this point where I want to hire someone, and I believe it's really important to pay someone very good money if I want a good person that can look after that, because like you, I'm very particular. I'm very controlling, so I'm trying to relinquish that control and give it to someone, but I'm struggling with letting it go.
Can I make a suggestion?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
You got your husband Craig's getting licensed.
Yes.
He's a numbers guy, he's an organizing guy.
Yes.
Okay, so part of leverage is also putting other people in charge.
Yes.
Because you're a bit of a control freak too, right?
Yes.
Sometimes.
Absolutely.
So what's
Yeah,
going to happen is that, I'm just being honest with you, open.
Yeah.
Sometimes what may happen is that may rub people the wrong way, especially in the hiring process.
Yes.
So get Craig to learn what needs to be done, let him hire that person for you, and then he manages it. You just go out and talk to people, because that's your gift.
Yeah.
Got it?
I got it.
That's why, that's the advantage of
I
couples.
got it. I totally got it. I've had it for the last 2 years. I get it.
No,
But
I love it. No, but here's what's going to happen.
Allowing, like, I have this
I know.
amazing person right now that I'm like, I need her. She's amazing
Yes.
for me. She's vibrant. She's full of life. She's a paper person. I'm like, hey, and I really want her. And then it's like.
Okay, so here's what you gotta understand. We're not gonna be good at everything. You're more than $263 an hour. You're like $1,000 an hour, because you're vibrant and your personality to just go hunt business.
Yeah.
You go hunt the fish, throw it to Craig, let him cut it up and chop it up. You go hunt more.
I know.
Okay?
Well, he's only been on the job for a week. Right now he's an expense.
But here's the problem. You're married to him, so you can't really fire him at this point. You're kind of
Well,
stuck.
I don't
Well, you
know.
could, but that's a whole other. That's a
He
whole other
doesn't
thing.
clean the bathroom like you do.
Yeah, all I'm saying to you is that know what your strengths are, also know what your weaknesses, and be real about them. Don't try to make a weakness a strength.
No, and I know that, and
Right.
that's where I'm at this pivotal moment in my business, that I need to jump and just allow that to work, you know. Craig is a list guy, he's very organized, he's a numbers guy, and I'm like, well, whatever, let's just pay our assistant $100,000, we just need to go. He's like, what,
No.
you know, like.
So this is the process and that you need in place.
Yeah.
Anyway, we can take that offline,
Yes,
but
yeah.
just take that suggestion.
Yeah.
So know your numbers. MRE is always aware about your numbers. What are your goal numbers? If you have the 411 document, you can actually break the numbers down. So if we look at GCI, if we know that basically, if we know that 40, I think Scott said 47.25. So if we know that 47.25 is on average, and our goal is to, let's just use a goal of 100,000. Okay, so just do that for me, 100,000 divided by 47.25. Has anybody got a calculator there?
Yeah, 100 grand in this market, around what, 23 ends, 24 ends?
Yeah.
Okay, so 23 ends? Okay,
Roughly.
so if we need to make 23 ends, and we know that our database, currently right now at 300, if we had 300,
21.
okay, if we know that, let's just assume that we're gonna get a 5% production number out of our database. So let's say if we know that there's only 15 ends that we're gonna get out of that, or whatever that number is. So in other words, what you're saying is that if your number's only 150, we need to get 23 ends. Our database is only gonna produce us 5% maybe, if it's complete, if we've been dripping on it. So we know we need to go out and get another 8 ends someplace. Well, we know that we need to talk to, on average, minimum on average, about 25 other people for each particular end. So in other words, if 25 people get us one appointment, if every appointment we get, we have a 50% conversion rate on those appointments, that means we actually have to talk to 50 people to do those 8 ends, right? So 50 times 8, that's 400 people, okay? So if we divide that by 52, what's 400 divided by 52? So you gotta make sure you're talking to 8 people a week, minimum. You can do that in like half an hour today. All I'm saying to you is that any goal you have, you can break it down. A certain number of people in your database, how many businesses? Just be honest. Just look at my database, how many ends did I do? Okay, take that percentage. Well, where do you want to be? And then add 25 people for every appointment, and then add a 50% conversion rate. Then you'll know how many people you need to speak to. It's something really silly. It's like 10 a week. Like if you just do 10 a week consistently every single week, you'd be amazed. That's why Bold is so productive, is because it forces you to do 10, basically do 20 a day, which is 100 per week, right? So it gets that muscle going. So we know in Bold, when you start doing 20 a day, 100 per week, we know that sometimes after Bold, that muscle sort of gets a little soft again, but you know what happens? Is it usually stays at about 10 a day. So we find that even after Bold, we've conditioned you away that you're just constantly always talking to people, right? And honestly, with the amount of agents that you have, with almost 100,000 in Fredericton, and this is a city that it's like, and even Moncton and St. John and Bathurst, I mean, these are places where people know you. I mean, it's easy, and they're so nice. I mean, they want to talk all the time, maybe too much sometimes, but you know, at the end of the day, it's just conversations, right, that you need to have. It's very, very simple. That's all it is, okay? So know your numbers. Your 8 goals of an MREA is lead generations, listings, contracts written, contracts closed, money, people, systems, tools, and what do I need to do for my personal development and education, okay? The 4 foundational models is to understand a good economic model, lead generation, budget model, and basically they all feed into us. Your economic model, what are the numbers you must have? Focus on appointments and focus on conversion. That's what I talked about. When we move to the second one, how am I going to prospect and or market? I covered the 2 different times, for prospecting and or marketing, right? Prospecting based, marketing enhanced business. Set up your database systematically. Focus on seller listings once you're able to start getting in, because listings produce more listings and produce more buyers. Lead with revenues, so don't go out and spend a ton of money. Start to see where your money's working for you. If you find that that just listed card or delivering those things are working for you, then lead with revenues and invest more. If you try something, do red light, green light. Try it for a length of period of time. Now, obviously, if you're gonna farm an area, you've gotta commit to at least a year to 2 years. But focus on the fact that if you find that you're spending money on certain things that's not working anymore. So for example, the LaRose team used to spend $10,000 a month on the inside page of the Mississauga News. And he did that at the beginning of it. He got a lot of business. But about 5 years ago, he realized he's not getting any business out of the Mississauga News. He's totally pulled out of the Mississauga News. He spends the same $10,000 on video, social media, other ones, rebranding. He's got a way bigger hit on that. So red light, green light is you being a business person. Red light, no. Green light, yeah, it's making me money. And then stick to your budget. Once you stick to the budget, assess that at the end of the year. This is a good time for you to look at how much you spent this year, where the money has been well spent in return, where the money hasn't been well spent, and then set a budget for 2018, okay? And then when your organizational model, when doing all you can do, hire some administrative help, get some leverage in your business, hire talent, and then train and consult. This is the circle. This is the circle. So once you get your assistant, starts again the next one. Buyer's agent, team agent. This is the focus of it, okay? So the right models do matter. Read the MREA book 12 times because that's the gap between knowledge to wisdom. So as I talked to you yesterday, the knowledge is knowing stuff. Wisdom is actually doing it. So all businesses try to do is to manage the gap. All a personal trainer is trying to do with you is manage your gap of you need to work out, you know what you need to eat, just trying to get you to do it. That's all we're trying to do is to manage that gap between wisdom and knowledge, right? So don't let it stay in your head. Focus on the numbers, focus on the appointments. As we can see, our net income plus our expenses equals our gross income. We should start tracking where our listings and our buyers are coming from. So at the end of this year, you should look at the amount of business that you did, even if it was only not a lot of business. How many of them were buyer deals? How many were listing deals? Interestingly enough, even if, let's say you did 10 deals this year, you'll realize, okay, well 80% were buyers, 2 of them were listings. You know it's going to be interesting, unless you do something, that ratio is probably not going to change when you get to 20 units. You'll notice that you'll be 4 listings and 16 buyers. So when you look at that, then it allows you to have a conversation of how can I start planning and changing my business, right? The right ratio, the healthy ratio, is somewhere between 40 and 60% listing. We don't believe in an 80% listing business. The reason is because listings listings do produce other listings, but the other part of it is that half of your buyers have something to sell to. So at some point. There's also segments, what you're gonna find. So for example, with your database, the reason that you need to put new people in is because they'll get stuck in a cycle. So for example, first-time home buyers, okay? First-time home buyers, I love them. Don't you love them? Easy, fun, no problems. They listen to everything what you need to do. So first-time home buyers, you usually get 2 sales from them within 5 to 7 years. In other words, you sell them something, and then usually within 5 to 7 years, you're selling them something else. So you'll get 2 transactions out of these first-time home buyers, and they'll usually always use you if they keep in contact with them. The problem is after their second home, when they get to their third home, they're normally in that home on average for 15 years. So I have agents that have had really, really, really amazing run of 4 or 5 years, and suddenly it's like their business is not there. I'm like, well, what happened? Well, we don't know. Now I look at their database, I look at their contacts, and everybody in their database says, yeah, Jeremy, I want to use you. When I'm going to sell my home, I'm going to use you. You're the man. But I ain't moving for 15 years because that's that house with my kid that you're constantly having to be able to move this, right? And move that kind of stuff. Okay, ahas, or you sound like ahas, we're going internal, but what did you learn so far?
Manageable amount of people that you need to really
speak to reach your goals at the end of the year?
Jonathan, 5 to 10 conversations. 5 to 10 conversations Monday to Friday. With existing people, with new people, just about real estate. John, how's it going? We haven't talked a little bit about real estate. Is there anything happening with your real estate portfolio?
Well, I'm trying to develop some good leads so that I can get rid of the guys that are taking all the time.
Yeah.
Those pain in the ass clients.
So all I'm saying, I was just prompting a conversation here. So whatever conversation it is, it's 5, you get 5 to 10 conversations per day just about real estate. So actual contacts, not dials, but contacts. That's not a lot, man. Okay, so let's just say if we did 5. And let's say we took off 4 weeks where we didn't do it, so 48 weeks. So 4 times a week, so 5 times 48, what's that number? So, sorry, 5 times, 20 times 48, so 5 contacts a week, what's that? 960. So if I said to you, go out and talk to 1,000 people, you'd be looking at me, I can't do that. Can you just do 5 a day? There, you're at 1,000. You want consistency? You want the course on consistency? 5 a day. Just do that, just do 5 a day. Probably only take an hour. 5 a day. You'll be 1,000 people at the end of this year. You don't think there's going to be 20 deals in there? Someplace? They're going to tell you about their brother, their sister, they're this, they're moving there, they're divorcing. I hate to say it, but you know what? With 50% of the world divorcing, it's like one of the best markets. I'm going to tell you about this guy. I really want to use you, but how are you going to be able to be neutral? Like, well, I just have to sit down. If you don't feel comfortable, I'm not going to do anything. I can actually bring another agent in within my office because I have a team. And I've got a girl, I've got an older lady, I've got a young guy, an older guy. Like, you can interview a few of them. If you want them to just be assigned to you and me to work with Tim, or vice versa, I can send Tim. You guys decide. I want this to be comfortable for you. Long and the whole short of it, I listed their home, sold their home within a week. I find Cindy a nice townhouse, sell her that the next week. I find Tim another townhouse, sell him that the week. I find out later Tim was dating somebody or seeing somebody. That's what caused this marital breakdown. I meet her, sell her place, find her another place. I got 4 deals in 1 month out of that. I'm not saying, all I'm saying to you is that if you just show up and have conversations with people, they're going to tell you stuff. And they're going to choose you. And sometimes it's nothing else than you were just there calling them. It's a full contact sport. And that's why, want to sell your home? Want to sell your home? Want to sell your home? That guy's always going to win. Because he's just always out there. That's all it is. Right? That's all it is. So, anyway, these are the progression model. Like anything you can do, you can build it back in towards your net income. Focus on the sellers, focus on the buyers. Things like your average commission rate, your average sales price, your average conversion rate. And if you go into the CGI calculator, the Career Growth Initiative calculator, so if you go into my KW, go under growth, go CGI, it will only take you about 5 or 10 minutes. 5 minutes. Put in your numbers, your average sales price, your average this, your average that, your conversion. It will already produce you these numbers for you under CGI. So this is brilliant what we've been able to do for you. Okay, it's already there. It's already part of your KW stuff. That's there. He's going to go through all of this. Let's see if I can skip through this. These are the sources. These are the sources of leads for you. So you say, well, where can I build my leads? For sale by owners, expireds, just sold, just listed. Past clients, Allied Resources, Geographic Farming, apartments, corporations, builders, banks, third-party companies. Hey, listen, I remember when the market slowed, I was able to make a deal with the bank, and I started getting some power of sales from them. What I did was I set up a property management company. What they said to me was that, well, a lot of times in the process of them holding the property, they have a right to redeem the property. And a lot of times power sales are the reason that when they don't pay their bills, they're not in the greatest condition. So they need somebody to also clean up the property. So I went to the bank, and it was actually the Royal Bank. I went to the bank and I said, listen, I've got a whole cleaning construction crew that if this property goes power sale, that we can actually go in and clean it up, and I'll just charge you cost. And I also have a property manager that can go there and get the rents and stuff like that. And we can hold it, because sometimes before they go to power of sale, there's like a 6-month period where they're trying to determine what's going on, right? They need help with that. So I set up a company and of people, and I said, I don't want to make any money, and I didn't. I don't want to make any money off of it. And now they sent it to that company. They helped collect the rents, manage it, go check on the property, do the inspection, because sometimes people who are not paying their mortgage, they get angry and they start bashing the home, or they turn off the water, so this could lead to greater damage. So I had a guy do all that stuff, and I just charged them cost. Royal Bank, for 4 years, were sending me I was getting about 15 deals a year to 20 deals a year from Royal Bank on their power of sales. And I'll tell you, in the lean times in the early 90s, that was the difference of me having a good year and a great year. So sometimes you can make relationships with third-party leasing, mortgage, corporations, whatever, that actually have an inventory already, and get in there with them. How did I do it? Face-to-face, Allied Resources, taking them out for lunch, door-to-door canvassing, open house, client parties. That's a really great way to touch all of your database. Here's the deal. Only about a third, maybe half of them will come out, maybe a quarter of them come out. But here's the deal. You sent everybody an invitation. So half of the people that didn't come, they call you and say thank you, or they send you a note, thanks, we can't make it, we really appreciate the invite. Take over a movie theater, have family day. It's not that expensive. Invite all your clients. One way you can touch the entire database just by one event. Right? So be smart that if you're having to go and touch them all individually, that takes time, but maybe you can do one thing, invite them all to one stuff. Hey, this has got a great training facility here. Maybe what you do tax time, it's coming up. Invite one of your local clients who's either a lawyer or a tax accountant. Maybe take this up, just book this room, have a whole bunch of your clients here just talking about tax planning. You don't have to talk about real estate, you're just their person. Then they'll look at you and say, he's just really helping us, right? So there's different ways that you can do certain things, social functions, seminars, do home buyer seminars, bank seminars. I mean, there's so many different leads that you can do, or sources, and just pick a couple of them to work on them. So as I said yesterday, I don't want to confuse you with all this. Just pick 2 or 3. That's it. Just pick 2 or 3. And these are some of the things that you can do with them, okay? As we know yesterday, when you haven't met, you meet them, you put them on an 8x8, which is 8 touches over 8 weeks. If you're farming, it's a 12 direct. There's something that's going out on a monthly basis into a farm area, and then once you get them in, you put them on a 33 touch. As you move closer and closer, you're going to find that you've got a target group, you've got a met group, and then you've got allied resources. So these are people that send you business consistently or refer you business consistently. You all have 1 or 2 of them that have sent you a referral or a friend or whatever. These are the people that you want to treat special. So whenever there's maybe an event or a hockey game or a dinner or whatever, take them out personally, because if these are people that are sending you an extra deal or 2 or 3 every year, then if you can just build that to 2 or 3 or 4 people that are sending you 2 or 3 deals, then now you've got enough money to pay for survival. Because if you can get like 10, 12 deals just out of 2 or 3 or 4 people that constantly refer you, then you now have all of those deals are your survival money. Pays for all your bills. So now every other sale you make is all what we call significance money in that case, right, to do that. These are some of the programs for 8x8. These are some of the programs for 33 touch. These are some of the programs for 12 direct. They all come down into lead generation ratios, okay? These are the 4 laws of the database, which I covered yesterday. These are the budget model, the MRA budget model. These are the chart of accounts. So we actually have a chart of accounts in there that tells you all the business expenses because you want to know what you're tracking on expenses. And then we put them into a budget sheet and we determine them being able to do all of that kind of stuff. Okay? We just did like 3/4 of the class, the whole book. There, you're getting the whole book all in one. Okay? Now, this is the model for leverage. So once you're what's the most important, so here's why I asked you. Why do you think I asked you, what is it that you can do to leverage in your life? Why did I ask you that?
So you can focus on your 20?
What's that?
So you can focus on your 20?
Yes?
Reduce stress.
Reduce stress?
Buy time.
Buy time? So here's one of the reasons I ask you to do it, even if it's getting a cleaner, even if it's getting, I want you to start getting into the habit of learning that if you are the single point of failure in your life and in your business, you're going to get that job back all the time. And what's going to happen is that we want you to actually run a business and have a great life. And so for you to do that, you've got to learn how to do that with and through other people. Even if it's just a matter of getting a person part-time to help you with the social media, the input. But it's the habit now of you being able to now empower and train and work with other people so that you can help better focus on your 20% and have a greater thing, have a greater quality of life. So at minimum, I would like all of you in here, at minimum, to have a goal to be a realtor. Or if you're in administration on a team or whatever it is, to have a goal to at least have part-time or virtual help as a minimum and full-time help as a larger goal. Because here's what's going to happen. Your income and your lifestyle will go up. So even if it's a goal is just to start with a part-time admin, okay, or a part-time virtual assistant, that for a few hours helping you outdo this, you will notice a big difference. You're starting now to run, and you'll start to think like a business person. You'll start to say, okay, now I want to focus on getting value out of these things. So who's your most important hire when you start to build a team?
First come in.
Huh? Understand this, most teams that I coach build it the wrong way. You know how they build it? Hey Austin! Hey Scott, you know what? You're a good agent, let's just form a team. We like each other.
Done that.
Right? I like you, you're good, let's just form a team. No way! Disaster! First of all, the reason you do that is because you're all hiring the same, you're all like each other. The whole focus of a team is you've got to hire some people that are not like you, right? Like, if they tried to make Gretzky big and bulky, the research said he would have been a terrible player. He just put Semenko on his line, right? So he could focus on his puck handling skills and his vision, right? So you got to understand, you need your Semenko, right? You need that person who's going to do the stuff that you don't want to do. So that's why you kind of wonder some of the best teams of partnerships. It's kind of like, and even marriages, right? It's like they're like nothing like each other, right? But it just happens to work, right? Because it's kind of like they have common values and they bring certain things to the table, but their core responsibilities are different. The thing is that if you're an agent and you're hunting business, what you need help is with admin. So that's all the database, all the marketing, all the inputting, all the broker loading, all the appointment stuff, all the management, all the feedback requests, all the social media, all managing client calls, all that kind of stuff. So I would take my admin, with me while I was on a appointment. I introduced the admin to the client. Okay, at Angie White, awesome admin. She now runs the Paul Rushforth team in Ottawa. Paul does 700 sales a year. Was the #1 Keller Williams agent in the world. Went out and opened up his own Paul Rushforth Realty boutique, but still loves KW, still friends, stuff like that. Angie was my assistant. She said Paul gave her an opportunity. I said, great, go ahead. And I would bring Angie along with me, and I'd say, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do. Angie will take care of you. I didn't hear from them. I never hear from them again. They loved Angie more than they loved me. Now that's hard, because I'm pretty charming, so, but, my ego was like okay with that, right? So, the interesting thing about it is that they should love them. more. That's a good sign of you. It means you've hired a person. So you can't have your ego is not going to be your amigo in this business. Your ego is your amigo in a lot of other businesses and a lot of other companies, but your ego is not your amigo at KW. Okay? Your very first and most important hire is going to be your assistant or part-time assistant. Understand, that assistant will, then you add in another agent. Until you've locked down your systems and your processes, do not bring anybody else into your business. That's the most important thing, right? Because you're going to end up disaster. Now, what's going to happen is, could there be turnover in assistants? Yes, so what you get them to do is you get them to take the perfect assistant training, which is $199 a month for 6 months. With Monica Reynolds, it's a group coaching. There's 3 calls a month with the assistant and then 1 call for the lead agent to make sure that everything's there. The lead agent sits on the other conference call. So it's a group conference call. It's only $199 a month. You get your assistant to take that. And in that 6 months, they will produce an operations manual for you. That operations manual for the team, if that assistant leaves, what do you have? An operations manual. So now, here's what we do. Is that a business worth owning? Yes, right? So we have that, we're the only company that actually has assistant training, and it's great. So every one of my team members has to do the Monica Reynolds conference coaching assistant training with their assistant. Because I don't want to be sitting there having to tell them all that's in this book and all that we're trying to teach them. They got to go learn it themselves and bring it up, and then I can just coach them on the innuendos and on the strategies of those kinds of stuff. Once you have that, then you hire in an agent to deal with your buyers. Now, here's the conundrum. If that agent, you got to be very careful, that agent that you're going to be hiring in has to be somebody that's also going to lead gen. If they're an agent that's just expecting you to feed them all the time, then you've become like the big bird and they're like the little baby birds and they're going to be looking for the worms all the time. And so what's going to happen is that you're now going to feel obligated that you've got to continually feed this person. But the reason that they're joining your team is because, well, you have listings, you have clients, and they can circle prospect, they can have open house opportunities, and yes, you're going to shoot them the occasional lead and whatever, but they're also going to be able to leverage off of your business and your reputation because they don't have one. You've got to hire for that mindset, not, hey, Scotty, let's get together. Right? That's not going to end well. Right? In that sense. Questions on this? Cool. Study this. This is not just a model for business, this is a model for your life. You can set your family up this way. You can do all kinds of other stuff. All right? And build in profit share. So what times people, well, how am I gonna, so profit share, we have a profit share plan, but you can have a profit share plan on your team. So let's say, for example, let's say you have an admin and say, well, listen, I want to basically, if you're having to pay a big salary every month and you're a commissioned person, you're not getting income on a regular basis. It's like same principle as rent recovery or stuff like that. But if you can pay them a sort of a fixed, reasonable rate just for them to pay their bills, why would you not give them an override or a percentage on your business? Like you say, okay, well, we're a certain producer at this level. We've now hired you. We want to help you take us to this level, and anything that we can do on the increase, we're going to pay you a percentage. I would rather pay $20,000 in bonuses off the fact that I've given them 10% on the $200,000 increase in my business than to pay them $20,000, divvy that up per month, because now there's an incentive. So base plus profit sharing on your business, then they start to look at their business like your business like their business. Hey, Scott, this is how we can save money. Hey, did you call back Mrs. Fairbanks? Oh, yeah. You know, they start to take an interest because they want to see deals in revenue, right? For you. So in that sense, think, earn, net, implement these things. Systems documentation, these are the actions. The calendar, you have to have a really strong calendar. Okay, your daily worksheet, your calendar, write down the key goals. I'll get to the calendar in a second. Gary Keller, and I struggled with this concept when I first came to Keller. And I said to Gary, I don't know if I believe that, because I believed in this whole thing about having a balanced life. I want to let you know one thing. I'm going to let you all off. I agree with this 100% after looking at it over and over again. We don't have balanced lives. Just accept that that's going to be the norm. We have to counterbalance. Here's what's going to happen. There's going to be times when we're just working, right? Well, we counter, and there's times where we're not working, right? So to think that we're going to have this perfectly planned, and I'm going to show you my schedule, it's as best as it can be, perfectly planned all the time life, we're not sometimes going to be able to deliver on it. We know that the market's sometimes seasonal here. We're going to be working with buyers and sellers, and we're going to be killing it. But we know that August is dead. We know that if we've done all of our lead gen up into December, we could probably take off a whole bunch of time in January and February. So the fact is that when we see that we are out of balance, we need to counterbalance. Means that if you've just worked 2-3 good weeks, the nice thing about this business is that even in the busiest seasons, if you've just run through a whole bunch of deals, Matthew can just say to his wife or say, honey, let's get on the plane, we're going away for a week. And sit on the beach all day and do nothing. That's counterbalance. So your balanced lives happen through you counterbalancing, because it's going to be out of balance. Does that make sense? Sometimes you're going to be right on your fitness, sometimes you're going to be off. So you got to get back in the gym, and you got to work it hard for a month to get you back to that place. Right? And vice versa. Some people, sometimes you want to be on permanent vacation. Got to get your ass up, get back into this classroom, start taking some stuff, and start working again, picking up some calls, doing that kind of stuff. So it's always constantly being able to do that. Okay? Net earn, passive income, in and out of your business, time blocking. Here's my schedule, and I'll email this to everybody. So I gave you a schedule of what was a typical week for me. Now I will say this is a bit of a busier week, but this would be generally fairly typical. I'm up at 6 in the morning. I normally exercise 4 times, and even if it's just at home or whatever, I usually go to the gym. Bath and breakfast. Fruit for me, I have to have, for energy, it's fruit, steel cut oats, juice. Those are things like that are important to me. Always dress my kids. I was the bath guy in the house. I'm still dress the kids, talk to my daughter Sahara, all that kind of stuff. And then I always do my lead gen. Now, I should do more, but I became a master of where if I just spent an hour, I could book all my meetings and all my appointments. Because I talk to 10 people, I'm getting 5 appointments. I know that. So it's that. This week I had jury selection. I got to take my daughter to gymnastics. So what I do is I block off all my personal time first. So I put all my personal time, all my family time, and then I put in all my other appointments around that, because it's important that I take the kids to skating lessons, right? So for this week, I had an appointment. So there's 1, 2. So these blue ones are all my business meetings. So these are business coaching meetings where I'm actually doing business, and the green are actually my money meetings. These are actually appointments that I have with people. So in this case, I was a team leader, just saying that. Now I get that there's some nights, I always had a date night scheduled, right? So what happens is that if for you as an agent, you would just time block 1 or 2 evening appointments, but I'm going to tell you, most people will take off time in their day. I was a master of having them take off a Thursday or a Friday in the daytime and say, listen, we don't want to interrupt your evenings or do that. Let's go and see houses on Thursday or Friday afternoon. Friday, I'd always show homes and do that. So these are all my meetings. Joined. So out of those 10 appointments, I had almost 7 people that I converted, because my conversion rate was there. So that made me convert, I recruited 96 people that year. 96 people, right? And we were #1 Keller Williams office in the world. So that's, so what I'm saying to you, John, is time block it first. And Gary's got this thing on the energy plan. We believe in working with the circadian rhythm that you have. There's a rhythm that if you can maximize yourself. So in other words, we have a rhythm, we also have a biological and a physical rhythm when we get up. So we realize that if we can get up, we can do some activity in the morning. So we believe that you get up in the morning, do a little bit of prayer or meditation, that's your sort of your spiritual energy, then eat and then do some exercise, it gets the body going, stuff like that. Hug and kiss and laugh, so give your kids, wife, spouse, whatever, and then usually you plan all of your mental energy, and then you do your lead generation. You're usually in by 9, and then we want to try to get everything done, those 2 or 3 hours done, by about 11 to 12 o'clock. At 12 o'clock you take your lunch. Most trainings in KW offices sometimes are all over the place, but normally trainings happen usually around 12 or 1 o'clock. So that it doesn't connect in on your lead gen time unless it's something like how we've done. And then your appointments are in the afternoon or evenings, because your lead gen time in the morning has set it up. And then your family time and your dinners. If you just follow this plan, where you start getting yourself up at around 6, 7 in the morning, get stuff done into the office here by 9, 9:30, get all your calls done by 11, 12, I guarantee you do that consistently starting now, because now business is happening for next year. So the way you set up your 2018 is you got to start making your calls now. I use them, well, it's Christmas time. That's the best time to call people. How's it going? How's it going? Now, don't wait till January. January, they've already made up a mind on whether they're putting their house up for sale or whether they're buying. If you want to set up 2018, you got to start doing your lead gen and your calls now. You do this between now and the end of the year, time block your calendars. I guarantee you your business will be up significantly next year. Thank you. That's it.
Awesome.
Hour and a half. I've done an hour and a half. So now I'm going to just answer any of your questions. If you guys unplugged, if you want me, I'm here for a little bit. But if you want me to just answer any of your questions, whether it be professionally, personally, spiritually, I'm not really sure I can do it. But whatever you want, I'll answer your question. Anything, whether it be surface or deep. If you're struggling with something, and don't be shy.
Sonny, I think you talked about leverage, and it could be personal, cleaning the house, someone mowing your lawn,
Right.
Or business. I think we all have to look in the mirror and say, what can I get someone to do that's going to give me more time to do what I'm good at?
Right.
Or, as you said, business write-off. We know that. We're paying that in tax, and if it's a wash, and it's going to make you more productive, it really hits home when you said it this morning.
Honestly, guys, and I'm not trying to do this as a plug, but I mean, you'll run out of space, but some of you need to be in the office. So you should just get an office, pay rent. It's a business write-off. Like, because, I mean, home office is nice, but like, you put Dr. Phil on, you eat that, make that second cup of coffee, toast in the oven, sports center, and suddenly, and you have to understand, this is just a commentary on us. We are fragile people. We are impressionable. We are influenceable. Like, as much as we're independent and strong, we get taken off really easy. I mean, our mind goes here, our mind goes there. So we do need support. We need to create support structures around us. So for the support structure is you going into the gym, you renting an office, you doing that, you having you're imposing a structure on your life. Like, people said to me, well, Sonny, you've done so well, really, really well in business, and you've got all these, you've got all these businesses. You know why I bought a Keller Williams? You know I got into Keller Williams to get into ownership? I'm just like you guys. I can be off on a tangent here. I can be off on a tangent there. But if I had to become a responsible owner and leader in a company, and I have to be responsible now for I always have now 500 agents. They're watching me every single moment, what I say, what I do, how I act, what I eat, all of my stuff. I actually have to now be accountable to them, because it's not just about my family, it's about 500 families. So people say, well, do you do it to get money? Well, yeah, I did it because I wanted to be able to have a really great business and be able to have the capacity to be significant in the world. But I got into ownership because It was a self-imposed structure that I imposed on myself, because now if I'm the operating principal, I have to do the budgeting, I have to do this, I have to do that. Because just like you guys, I can fluff off and just try to, you know, hide out in life. Does that make sense? So we need to impose structure. I go to this trainer, Mark McCoy, he's a former Olympian, he's a good friend of mine. He's the only gold medalist to win hurdles. He happens to do the endurance track training. Guy makes me push friggin' sleds up and down and do the rope things, and it's like, I'm done after about 5 minutes, and he makes me do it for an hour. Like, I'm just like, please, please. But I do it because that's what my body needs. I have genetically high cholesterol. I've got, like, there's other things that we all have to manage. So I have to force myself to do things that I don't want to do because it's good for me, right? And stuff like that. So, no pressure, no diamonds.
I think it's really important too, again, just being a newer person, like just showing up, right, at the office.
Just show up.
I know, and I said that's one of the things, like when I first started, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I like people, and I'm gonna do this and do it well. But sometimes I showed up and had nothing to do, but I showed up and played the part. And I felt that if I'm playing the part, then it would work out, and that's what happened. I showed up. So lots of times you're right, I want to go over to second or third cup of coffee and just think about what can I do. Let's focus on business cards. Let's focus on the computer. But at the end of the day, I showed up like every other successful agent and looked the part, and I think it works. Because people take you very seriously when you show up and you look the part.
Right.
Right? You're not a joke anymore going, oh, here's another one that's just there, you know. So.
And Terry, take this company and this setting as the grand experiment to experiment on your life. Better you experiment here than on the public. So if you're struggling with listing, if you're struggling with conversion, if you're struggling with scripts, don't rely on Scott and Austin and Carrie to bring that to you guys. Go into my KW, Google listings, look at all the stuff that's there on listing presentation, and come to them and say, I'm gonna host or co-host a session on listings. You guys go through the curriculum, help each other out, because here's the deal. If you want to get better with listings, start teaching the listing class. That's the best way to get better with listings. Start holding a mastermind about listings. If you want to be better with scripts, start hosting a mastermind on scripts. If you don't know how to leverage, start hosting a mastermind on leverage. There's all kinds of material in there, and just open up the class and say, guys, as much as I'm helping facilitate, I'm not the expert, because I'm not, but let's talk about this and start sharing. You guys need to support each other, because you're going to hear a bunch of noise out there, right? And you're part of the 20, you're not part of the 80. You got to leave here thinking, I'm part of the 20, not part of the 80. Not to be elitist, but they get paid a salary. You know, you don't. You only get paid based on performance and results, 100%, right? So it's a very interesting business, so you have to make those choices. But who you hang out is going to be very important. And honestly, and I'm not saying this in a very vindictive way, some of you guys need to get rid of some of the people that are all constantly in your ear. You need to have a conversation with them and say, I'm really sorry, I love you to death, but honestly, I can't take this victim talk anymore. I really need to just, it's hard enough for me to just focus on the things that I need to do, but if you're gonna talk with me or interact with me anymore, it really needs to be from a high-minded place. And I love you to death, but can't take it anymore.
Are you talking clients, or are you talking?
Both, everything.
Just want to be sure.
Sorry, John, I don't want
Johnny,
anything, everybody.
Johnny, if you need me to list your house, well.
No, I was actually, Cliff, you crossed my mind.
Any other questions, folks?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Who are those jujubes for?
They're for everybody, I guess.
Second question.
Yeah.
Did you, I mean, you're obviously well prepared and motivator for sure. And I think we have to take what you've taught us, and it's up to us to take.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But how do you know everybody's name so well?
Well, you guys have the cards on the
I know,
table.
but
You just kind of remember.
did you study our profiles before you came?
No, I didn't. I'm not that well prepared. Most of you, just looking at the cards yesterday, right?
Because that's a technique.
Well, it is, and I kind of struggle with it too myself, because I'll remember faces and places. Like many of you, if I've met you before, I've maybe seen your face, right? Like, you know, Fanny, for example, like, I mean, it's like, I forgot your name, but I know her, I know you, right? So that's why I kind of said the very first thing I said to my buddy over, where is he? Oh, he's not here today. To get the tent cards, just easier.
So last night, Sonny, everyone that came in, you went and introduced yourself.
Yeah.
Everyone that came in.
Every single, see, that's important because, first of all, I was brought up that way, which I'm very fortunate to have a family that you never not say, like, I still kiss my mom and dad every time I see them, my aunts, my uncles, friend, like that's just how we were, that's how it is. I'm very fortunate that I have a great family that way. But I was just taught that way, but I also try to teach everybody else. My kids have to know to come in and they have to say hi to everybody, or at least just say whatever. They'll go, right? But but you gotta understand, if you're gonna be a leader, and if people are gonna choose you, they're gonna watch you all the time. And I made this mistake. I made this, it's funny. Everybody, understand, I was new too, right? So I had some real disaster stories that were defining for me, because like I was ready to get out of this business too. I remember that I was doing a lot of FISBOs when I first started, because I mean, you understand, I'm 18, I'm still studying in school. I have my undergrad in urban planning and architecture, so I'm studying at Carleton and Ottawa U. While I'm selling real estate full time, I was able to take the evening classes and weekend classes and combine credits between while I'm full time selling. So I just figured, okay, well, so I go and I get appointments. I was really good at getting appointments because I'm a good talker, right? So I didn't do my research on pricing, whatever. So I show up at this guy's home, and I really like his home, right? And I give him a price. And I said, I think I can get you $230,000. Now, this is back in 1985. He looks at me and he says, if you can get me $230,000, I'll pay you any commission. So I went and I did my research after, and I realized that it was only worth about $92,000. Now, this guy happened to be which I didn't know, I lived in a community called Ryan Farm City View, and I had a little community, and the church was up there, and I remember going to the church as a kid because that's where all the events were. Well, I didn't realize he was the director of the community church and the community there. And then everybody used to shop at this one IGA that was just down the road, and I used to go there, and I remember going to the checkout, and he's at the other checkout, and he's looking at me, he's going, as if I'm local. And I left, I'm just sitting, okay, I just didn't do the research. I just shooting without thinking, just going out there. And so what I did after that, I thank that man every day, because after that I went and previewed 10 homes a week for an entire year. To the point of where Carrie, I had a map of the whole city on my wall. I studied the streets, I studied sales, I studied price points. It was almost to the point I could be in a party with you or meet you up. Carrie, where do you live? Orleans. What part of Orleans? This. What street you on? 2-story, 4-bedroom. Is that a Costco home? Yeah. You're think I'm a palm reader. That man, I thank that man every day, because my embarrassment and my losing drove me to say, if I'm gonna get serious about this business, I better know what the crap I'm talking about. So I started studying values to the point of now I could walk in homes and I have a range, right? And that's why in Ignite, of your 10-4 in Ignite, 10 of it is preview 10 homes per week. Go out and know the product. Go out and know what you're doing so you can talk about that, things like that. So I had a lot of disaster stories I could tell you, seriously. But, it's what you learn from it. So I thank that man for making me feel like nothing, because it forced me to get serious about it.
Did you sell his house?
No, he wouldn't list it. He listed it for $99,000 with another agent and sold it for $95,000.
Austin had to step out for a funeral, but I just want to thank Sonny for taking time out of his busy schedule. It was 2 excellent days here at training. We appreciate it. We'll do it again, and let's have a warm welcome.